Oh, wait. I don't want the cards. Alright. Sorry. So, as my partner stated before, we believe that zoos, we should keep zoos. Because zoos are safe, because zoos are educational, and, sorry, and national preserves will not work. So, the reason zoos are safe is because we can treat many diseases. Like the affirmative said, that there's so many diseases. Al-Fadi stated that there are more diseases in zoo than in the wild, and also Giovanni. But according to the Smithsonian National Zoological Report, the prevention medicine program is especially important for zoo animals, as wildlife species tend to mask symptoms of illness until they are very sick. It is our priority to prevent illnesses from arising, as it is easier to prevent diseases. It's easier to prevent a disease than it is to treat it. So basically, you have people who are around the clock who are helping these animals, and basically are watching them because it's easier to prevent it. So they're trying to stop the disease before it is even happening. Also, they talk about zoochosis, and basically zoochosis is a mental health disease that they say that these animals are just sitting here, just tearing their fur apart and just lying there, just waiting to die. But according to the BZON, which is the British and Ireland Association of Zoos and Aquarium, the researchers demonstrate that these veterinarians are, like I said, are around the clock watching these animals, and they also test their cortisol level, which basically is knows when an animal is stressed or when it's not feeling well. So basically, these animals also do these in the wild. It's not just because they're captured in the zoos that they're always having not zoochosis or mental health or these problems also in the wild. So that's why we have these zoos, so these animals can be safe. Also, I wanted to talk about why we also have zoos, because many of these animals are they're wild. So a lot of them are also in the zoo because they're endangered, and we have people who are hunting elephants for their horns, or also rhinos too. Tusk, whatever. Tusk. Horns, tusk, same thing. I'm joking. Sorry. It says about, to back this up, sorry. Okay, so yeah, like I said, many of these animals are also in the zoo, so we can stop people from hunting elephant tusk and rhino horns. There we go. And also just the reproduction to help these animals. We do a reproduction process. Yes, we force them to mate, but also it's to help endangered species. For my second point, I would like to point out that zoos are educational. The affirmative stated that when people go on, especially kids go on these field trips, that kids don't learn anything. But aren't kids curious? How many times have you been with the kid and they always ask you nonstop questions? To back this up, at the St. Louis Zoo, it says people learn at zoos. They learn in formal classes, lectures, teacher workshops, distant learning, zoo tours, and overnight and outreach programs that the zoos provide. So not only are zoos educational when they're there, they also have people who are coming from the zoo to your classroom who teach you about these animals, and they also teach the teachers as well. So when teachers do these field trips, they go around, and the teachers, not only does the tour guide have something to say, but the teachers have something to say too. So you're learning nonstop. Sorry. Also, they said when you're at the zoo, they said that animals, when we look at them or kids look at them, the animals don't engage. They basically just sit there and they do nothing. They don't know how to hunt. They're not hunting, they're not feeding, they're just basically just rolling there and just laying there in the grass. But animals actually do get engaged, and zookeepers actually hide their food, and they hide them around like their area so they can engage with each other and also just hunt for their food. To back this up, an article in the Washington Post, it says to keep the animals engaged, keepers often scatter the commissionary food so animals can search for it. Like meerkats, they get their meal with worms and insects in the dirt, or they hide hidden objects inside for them to play with. The gorillas, meanwhile, get a different mix of fruits and vegetables, such as oranges, melons, cucumbers, and lettuce, and it's tossed all over the floor for their enclosure each day. So, basically, that these animals are engaging. These animals are doing what they're supposed to do in a natural setting, while we are learning as well. For my third point, I would like to tell you why we should keep zoos. Now, zoos employ a lot of people, not just the veterinarians, but like the vendors, the people who sell the food to your lemonade to when you get there. According to the Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium, zoos and aquariums employ more than 32,400 people nationwide, and that's just in the U.S. So what if we ban the world zoos? So that can be hundreds to thousands of people losing their job. And the affirmative did not talk about what is going to happen if we do ban these zoos. It says, to go on, it says, the zoos create more than twice as many jobs in their communities, form vendors they hire to employ employees hired by hotels, restaurants, and stores that serve these visitors. So not only is the zoo infecting the people that actually work for it, but also the community outside of it, to the people that book the hotel or the people that you rent a car to. If you ban the zoo, it's also an emotional part that people are getting attached to. Nothing from John Pickrell, How Zoos Are Saving Our Animals. He says nothing compares with the emotional impact of seeing the real thing. He says the connection is a powerful tool to getting the environment message across the 14 million or so visitors across the thresholds of Australia's zoos and aquariums each year. It seems like these efforts have a measurable success to a study based on surveys with hundreds of visitors to the U.S. zoos as well. So, basically, even though zoos are a form, I was like, right on. Sorry, zoos are a form of entertainment. These 14 million so people around the world are attached, and even these 14 million people are all attached, and that's why we should keep zoos.
I was about to say,